guys, my name is Sorab. I am building a series around the artificial intelligence, also known as AI. Artificial intelligence is probably the most complex and astonishing creation of humanity, one of the few aspects of the fourth industrial and knowledge revolution. Today, it is applicable in almost all the fields, and if it is not being used in your field, be sure that the day is near and you should take proper steps to prepare for it. I hope this series will be a good starting point. For the first video, I will try to introduce the different aspects of the AI. Basically, what is an AI and types of AI. And of course, along the way, whenever possible, I lay out some examples to familiarize ourselves with the topic even more. Stay tuned for a lot of interesting and useful information. Surely it is not the first time you hear the name AI. Upon hearing it, some imagine something like a Terminator, and for some, it is something cute and useful like Wall-E. But the truth is, not all AIs are necessarily physical or even robots. They can be a simple or complex code running on a computer. As for what exactly is an AI, well, naturally, the first answer is artificial intelligence is intelligence demonstrated by machines as opposed to natural intelligence displayed by animals, including humans. As the name suggests, it is artificial, not natural. More accurately, it is man-made. But a better answer for this question is perceived when a better question is asked. What is an AI supposed to do? Imagine the most trivial to the most complex tasks a human have to do on this earth or even beyond. The final form of AI is supposed to be able to do all of them, not just like humans, even better and more efficient. From brewing tea to finding the cure for all illnesses. Imagine harvesting the best and most efficient farms and eradicating world hunger. Imagine building vehicles that have no environmental limitation. Imagine connecting minds, feelings, and reading thoughts. Even achieving immortality is not a far-fetched goal with the final form of AI. The list goes on and on, in my opinion, not ending ever. At the same time, most sadly, there is the possibility of bad actors and misuse for AI and even villainous AI too. You see, it is not exaggeration to say AI can be a good or bad god to us humans. A god that will lead us either towards divinity and singularity or devastation and destruction. And it is up to us to choose either path. Now that we have a rough idea about what an AI is, let's move a step forward. There are some basic but important defining traits that any AI should at least possess some of. All of these traits are in a category called intelligence. So first, let's introduce these traits. The first trait is abstraction. Abstraction for an intelligent entity means that its behavior are procedure and idea-based, not case and event dependent. An intelligent entity faces different situations with proper measures, and you don't need to list all the possible events and their solutions for it. An intelligent entity or person is able to use correct reasoning and good argument to find the solution for problems. It understands. Maybe the things it understands are mathematical equations or even the meaning behind a painting. It is self-aware. It knows in what state it is, and it knows the proper and improper set of conditions and can distinguish between them. This is pretty important because one of the main abilities of the complete or super AI is to self-diagnose. It has the ability to learn. Of course, learning depth and type can be different for each entity, and it is not essential to continuously learn to deserve the title of being intelligent. Knows what feeling is. In case of software or AI, it means having the ability of measuring or indexing or scaling the thing we call feeling. Reasoning, planning, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving are other traits that an intelligent entity may have. Well, now that we know what an AI is and what characteristics it might have, let's form the general idea of how to classify the AIs. Since AIs are supposed to mimic humans, their classification is also based on how and how much they can do the mimicking. So, going on about it from this angle, there are two ways in which AIs are generally classified. One type is classifying AI and AI enabled machines based on their likeness to human mind and ability to think and feel. According to this system of classification, there are four types of AI and AI enabled or AI based systems. The first type is reactive machines. These are the oldest forms of AI, have extremely limited capability, do not have memory based functionality, so cannot use previously gained experiences, cannot use memory to improve their operations, and therefore do not have the ability to learn, just automatically responding to a limited set or combination of inputs. A popular example of reactive AI machine is IBM's Deep Blue, a machine that beat chess grandmaster Garry Kasparov in 1997. The second type is limited memory AIs. In addition to having the capabilities of purely reactive machines, these AIs are also capable of learning from historical data to make decisions. Analyzing big data is one of the widest applications of these types of AIs. That being said, nearly all present-day AI systems, from chatbots, virtual assistants, and image recognition to self-driving vehicles, and even those using deep learning, which are trained by large volumes of training data that they can store in their memory to form a reference model for solving future problems, are classified under this branch. Because the next two types of AI exist for now either as a concept or a work in progress. The third type is theory of mind AIs. Theory of mind AI is the next level of AI systems that researchers are currently engaged in innovating and creating. A theory of mind AI will be able to better understand the things it is interacting with by understanding their needs, emotions, beliefs, and thought processes. While artificial emotional intelligence is even now a budding industry and an area of interest for leading AI researchers, achieving theory of mind AI will require development in other branches of AI as well. If you watch movies, Tony Stark Jarvis in Iron Man is a pretty good example of this category. The main reason for a slow progress in this area is to truly understand human needs. AI machines will have to perceive humans as individuals whose minds can be shaped by multiple factors. Essentially, they should be able to understand humans, and that is a tricky topic. Well, we ourselves cannot truly understand each other to begin with. The fourth and final type in this classification is self-aware AI. This is the final stage of AI development which currently exists only hypothetically. Self-aware AI, which is also self-explanatory, is an AI that has evolved to act like the human brain, which is self-aware and progressive without human brain's limitation. Creating this type of AI, which is decades, if not centuries away from materializing, is and will always be the ultimate objective of all AI research. This type of AI will not only be able to understand and evoke emotions in those it interacts with, but also have emotions, needs, beliefs, and potentially desires of its own. This is the type of AI those doomsayers of the technology are wary of. Although the development of self-aware AI can potentially boost our progress as a civilization by leaps and bounds, it can also potentially lead to catastrophe. This is because once self-aware, the AI would be capable of having ideas like self-preservation or world correction, which may directly or indirectly spell the end of humanity. As such, an entity of such caliber could easily outmaneuver the intellect of any human being and plot elaborate schemes to take over humanity. The alternative system of classification that is more generally used is the classification of technology based on capability of AI into artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial superintelligence. The first type in this classification is called narrow AI. This type of artificial intelligence represents all the existing AI, including even the most complicated and capable AI that has ever been created. Artificial narrow intelligence refers to AI systems that can only perform a specific task autonomously using human-like capabilities. These machines can do nothing more than what they are programmed to do and thus have a very limited and narrow range of competence. According to the aforementioned system of classification based on functionality, the systems correspond to all the reactive and limited memory AIs. Even the most complex AI that uses machine learning and deep learning to teach itself falls under ANI or artificial narrow intelligence. The second type in this classification is artificial general intelligence, which has the ability of an AI agent to learn, perceive, understand, and function completely like a human being. These systems will be able to independently build multiple competencies and form connections and generalizations across domains, massively cutting down on time needed for training. This will make AI systems just as capable as humans by replicating our multifunctional capabilities. The third and final type of AI in this classification is artificial superintelligence or ASI. The development of ASI will probably mark the pinnacle of AI research, as ASI will become by far the most capable form of intelligence on Earth. In addition to replicating the intelligence of human beings, ASI will be exceedingly better at everything they do because of overwhelmingly greater memory, faster data processing and analysis, and decision-making capabilities. The development of AGI and ASI will lead to a scenario most popularly referred to as singularity. Personally, I hope I can see it in my lifetime. Well, that's it for this video. For the next video, I will discuss the purposes of AI and tools we use to create AIs. Remember, if you like the video, press subscribe and the bell button to be notified about the future videos. I hope you learned a thing or two, and thank you for your attention, guys.